listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome into the GM Shuffle. I'm Geoff Schwartz alongside Marty Hurney. The GM Shuffle was on at DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. 8 years National Football League for me at right tackle, right guard, a little bit of left guard every now and then. Played one preseason game left tackle. Marty, no center for me. Too fat. Couldn't do that. Couldn't move well enough. Marty Hurney, 30 years in NFL front offices. We have a lot to get to, Marty, from the weekend that was. And look, we'll have our best bets later in the show. We'll talk some Monday Night Football as well. But I think that the pressing story out of this weekend is sort of some confirmation for things we thought heading into the weekend. But also, I think it's time to take a serious look at the Chiefs, Marty, and wonder whether or not this sort of version of them is good enough to do anything in the postseason. I know in past years we have said, just wait till the postseason, they'll figure it out. And they have in certain years, Marty, but after a 22-19 loss to Denver, they're now multiple games back of the division. Denver's minus 300 right now to win the AFC West. The Broncos are 4-0 now in games scoring 22 points or less. They're 7-1, Marty, in one-score games. Kansas City was 11-0 last year in those one-score games. They're 0-5 this season in one-score games. And we do credit the Broncos for the way they played and some of the plays they made, Marty. But what made the Chiefs so good over the years was their ability to, for lack of a better term, not mess it up, right, Marty? They let other teams make the mistakes. And in the big moments of games, they always executed, whether it was converting on a 3rd and 6, whether it was a special teams play, whether it was, a blitz that was able to hit and affect a quarterback. And this season, all season long, in those moments, they are not making those plays. You look at a blocked PAT that Denver had yesterday. You look at, and look, these add up, of course, right? You look at a drive where the Chiefs tied at 19, 4 minutes left. How many times have they driven down the field, Marty, kicked the field goal and won the game? They went backwards, minus 12 yards. They got sacked on 3rd down. You look at a 3rd and 15 on the final Broncos drive, easy completion for Bo Nix. They don't hit Bo Nix. You look at the final play where Franklin has a nice catch there against Watson to get him into field goal range. These are plays Kansas City has made over the years, Marty, and they're not making them this season. And there's many reasons, I think, for that. They're 10% worse on the entire roster, it feels like, right? Like, they're just not as good rushing the passer. They're not as good covering wide receivers. They're not as good in the pass game this season. So all these things are leading to the Denver Broncos, with the way they're playing well too, of course, but winning the AFC West.
Can I pull you off the edge? Let me back you off. Let me back you off the cliff a little bit. First of all, their roster was jumbled, depleted, whatever you want to call, for what, 7 to 8 weeks. Yes, they definitely beat themselves yesterday. And I think what we saw yesterday was against a division opponent on the road against a head coach who probably spent a lot of the offseason trying to figure out how to beat the Chiefs, because he knew that was his road to the AFC West title. I don't believe in when you're champions, you better knock them out. They better be out of the picture. The Chiefs are not out of the picture. They're 5-5. You read their comments after the game. You listen to the players talk. They get it. They know they beat themselves. Okay. And they know they have to play better, but they always have the ability to outscore you with Patrick Mahomes in that offense. And Steve Spagnuolo is going to figure it out. I mean, listen, one thing I've learned, Geoff, in this league, that right now, it doesn't matter. We love to talk about it. Actually, the next 4 weeks don't matter. But around weeks 14 through 17, you look at teams that start heating up. And if you get hot at the right time, okay, that is a big plus. The Chiefs might be one of the few teams I would say do not need the home field advantage in the playoffs. I think they're good enough to go beat anybody on the road. There are a lot of the teams, 3 or 4 of the teams like the Colts, teams like the Bills, I think it's very important for them to get the 1 seed as far as their chances of making the Super Bowl. But I am not ready to dismiss the Chiefs right now.
Look, I think that even the most positive Chiefs fan would, or really negative Chiefs fan, I should say, would agree with you if they get in the playoffs. So scary, right? If you were to make a wager and they're the 7th seed of whether they can make the Super Bowl or not, I think you'd feel comfortable wagering Kansas City, right? They would go to Denver or go to Indianapolis, go to New England. Very winnable game at the moment, right? As the standings are right now, and be able to win that game. The issue that I continue to have, though, is that, like, I don't. Spagnuolo and Andy Reid obviously are maybe the greatest duo to ever coach together, right? Outside of maybe Parcells and Belichick, right? In the 80s with the Giants. I mean, they've won so many titles together and they've done so many good things together, but I don't think they're coaching as well as they have in the past this season. And can it certainly flip? Absolutely. You know, the Chiefs offense, they come out. I made this funny tweet. I think it's true. I mean, I'm laughing at my own tweet, I guess. I don't know how cool that is, but they get under center, Marty. They run for 11 yards. It was early in the third quarter, middle third quarter, like get under center, run for 11 yards. And I made the joke, like, we'll see that play again next week. Like, they just refuse to do the stuff that works for them in the run game. They come out in that 4-minute, that 4-minute drill, right? Where they need a field goal to win the game. And pass, 3 passes in a row. And I get it. You have Mahomes. You want to pass the football. But you were running the ball under center fine in this game. They've run the ball under center very efficiently all season long. Yeah. And they're refusing to actually make that part of their game plan. And defensively, Chris Jones said after the game, we called the same blitz multiple times in a row. They figured it out. Yeah, like these are the issues that we're continuing to see all season long. And can they flip the switch and make it right, Marty? Yeah. On a given game, if they are playing their best and they're being coached at the highest level, they could be like, they beat the Lions already this season by multiple touchdowns. They can absolutely do it. But the problem is we haven't seen enough. And because they have a loss to Jacksonville, because they have a loss to Buffalo, like those are tiebreakers for them come playoff time, right? Buffalo is obviously, I think Buffalo will still end up, their defense probably in a second. Not quite sure, but Jacksonville's not going to win the South. You have to have a tiebreaker in Jacksonville. You lost that game already, right? You lost the Buffalo as a tiebreaker. So you have to now win more games than not. You have Indianapolis this weekend at home. You go to Dallas. You play Houston, who can't score. You play the Chargers, who are a mass unit right now. You get Tennessee, you should win. Denver and Vegas. So obviously Vegas and Tennessee, those are wins, I would imagine. A beat up Chargers team at home, probably a win, Marty. That's 3. You probably win at Dallas, right? Dallas, the way they're playing, I think you win that game. That's 4. That's 9 wins right there. You probably need a 10th, right? So can you upset Indianapolis this weekend? Can you beat Denver late in the year at home on Christmas? Can you beat Houston? So there's a path to 10 or 11 wins, Marty, but they really just got to button up and play much better. And one thing I want to push back on slightly too is I see that, again, this is replying to social media, of course, but I see Chiefs fans that think like it's an effort. It's not an effort thing. They're playing hard. No, they're just not making good plays. And even Mahomes was like, look, of course, we love Mahomes. And I'm letting you guys know right now that are Mahomes haters. Okay, just listen very closely. If there was a draft today and you start your team with anyone, 15 is the first draft pick. Don't get it twisted. Don't think otherwise. He's still number 1. Denver fans, if you're drafting a quarterback now, you're taking Mahomes. So I know that it's easy to bash him. He certainly had a bad interception, Marty, but those are the plays, that interception that like you just can't have when your margin of error is so small. That's 3 points they lost out on a bad interception. And Mahomes is continuing to make some of these plays that, again, this season they can't overcome them.
Joe Gibbs always said every season has a new personality, right? And to me, I always laugh when people say, oh, you're not playing with effort. No, they're not playing with confidence. They're not sure how they're going to win games. Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, we talked last week about being honest with your self-evaluation. Yeah. I trust both of those coaches to go in and be honest and figure out the tweaks that they have to make. They still have the talent to compete for the AFC Championship, Geoff, and they're going to figure it out. I think that it was so jumbled the first 6 to 8 weeks, the roster, guys out and because of injury or suspension or whatever. It's taken them a while to find this year's identity, but I think they will. And I think they're sort of at that crossroads right now. That's why I like them against Indy. Listen, their backs are against the wall. They know they can't lose too many more games, but they're going to figure it out. This is an organization that knows how to win. It knows how to evaluate, self-evaluate, and it knows how to be honest with itself. And I think that I think that yesterday was a tough loss, and it did surprise me. I thought they'd go in and beat Denver, but Denver's playing well right now. But the Chiefs are going to figure it out and get better. And if they get in the playoffs, if you ask any other team in the playoffs, who do you think the first team they'll say they don't want to play? Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. So let's talk Denver here for a couple minutes, Marty. Another win for them. Look, again, the margin for error is small for them. They've won 3 straight games by 3 points. They beat a C.J. Stroudless Texans team. Remember, he got hurt in that game. They beat the Raiders by 3. They beat the Chiefs by 3. But they've won, my math is correct, 8 games in a row now, Marty. I will be very glad to wager against them come the playoffs. But right now, I think this is real, man. I mean, they're doing enough to win these games. They're making plays in the big moments. Bo Nix is completing enough passes when he needs to. What's your overall assessment of Denver now, sitting at 9-2, heading on their bye week?
I agree with you. I think the regular season, they're a better team than a playoff team. The playoffs become a quarterback tournament, Geoff. And I like Bo Nix, but I'm not sure he's ready to step in and make a run in the playoffs. But they're winning behind their defense. They're winning behind very smart coaching. And they are good enough on offense to score and not beat themselves at times. There are times they do, but I think they are probably going to end up winning the division, but just remember the playoffs are a quarterback tournament.
It is a quarterback tournament. How much is the Dobbins injury going to affect them? Because I think they had really struggled running the football. Now that they don't have anyone who's a shoulders down, pads forward runner, and that's going to, I think, hurt them. They're going to have to use Bo Nix, in my opinion, a little bit more in these short yard situations to get some first downs later in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and they're going to find back. I mean, listen, running the ball is just will, and you got to keep running it to be successful. So I think Sean Payton will figure that out.
They will need to figure that out at the end of the push. But again, 9-2, they're winning games, and they're right now getting -300 to win the division as they're playing good ball now. Let's talk about a team in the NFC that we're not giving enough respect to. We're next in the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Back on the GM Shuffle, enough Chiefs talk, Marty. We're going on to the rest of the NFL here. Let's talk Eagles and Lions. Eagles win 19-6. Eagles this season, Marty, have beaten the Lions, the Packers, the Bucs, who are in first place currently, the Rams, who I think we all believe are Super Bowl contenders, right? Heavy Super Bowl contenders, in Kansas City. They had a weird stretch. They lost to Denver and they lost to the Giants, if you recall, sort of like they had last season. They had a weird stretch about that time of season 2 and then won a bunch of games in a row. These are not always pretty, right? The last 2 games, a 3-point win, a 7-point win last night. They keep winning, Marty. And I think it's time just to admit, if you are a hater or you're not sure about them, they're a dang good football team. They might not do it traditionally the way you want to see it. They might, have a little bit of a little bit of a flow issue in the passing game where it doesn't look pretty. There's no rhythm at times, but man, all the buttons get pressed correctly, Marty. You bring in Jalen Phillips, boom, guy becomes a star. You let a guy leave, in free agency, and here comes your third defensive tackle, Marty, who's now making a bunch of plays for them, right? It's just continual line. Lane Johnson goes out again. You bring in someone else, and it just continues to work. You look at Tank Bigsby last night, right? As a free agent pickup with 34 yards. It just works, Marty. And I think it's time we respect what the Eagles do.
They are always looking to get better. Look at what Howie Roseman did at the trade deadline, and now how that has helped them right now. And listen, they're a team comes off winning a Super Bowl. You worry about complacency. You worry about, thinking you're better than you are. Not Philadelphia. Every week there's some sort of drama and issue that they say they have to correct. But guess what? Every week they find ways to win because they got playmakers. They got winning schemes. Vic Fangio's defense is just playing lights out right now. And I just don't think we give enough credit to Jalen Hurts, Geoff. I saw something on TV last night that shocked me. But, going back to Alabama, he has had a different offensive coordinator every year for the last 10 years. Do you know how hard that is to do? I just think that he's exceptionally smart. I think he's the leader in that locker room, and he just knows how to make plays at critical times. And this is a team that's just going to keep getting better. They're never satisfied, and I think they're very well-rounded. They start by building this team on the offensive and defensive lines, so they're going to win those battles most of the time. And they got a variety of skill players. They got the ball to A.J. Brown last night. Saquon Barkley, watch, he's going to get heated up here at some point. So I just think they have so many weapons on offense, and they are just so aggressive, pressuring the quarterback on defense. This team's just made to set up to do very well in the playoffs again.
Look, when you run the ball and you win the defensive line, you're in every single game. And of course, you have to make those big plays in those big moments. They're a team built to play outside in bad weather, which is the NFC. Almost every NFC team right now, outside of Los Angeles, is an outdoor cold weather team that you have to play in the postseason, Marty. And so it makes a lot of sense for them to be built this way. And you're right. They continually win. They find ways to win. Again, we would praise Kansas City. We did last year for winning this way, and we continue to do that. When they do that, we should praise the Philly in this way. The Lions, man, Marty, I can't figure them out this season. It's an interesting team. 0 for 5 on fourth down, which wasn't great last night. Goff was certainly not good. He completed, I think, only 2 of his last 18 passes last night. He was a total of 14 of 37 for 255. Gibbs ran the ball okay at times. They used him a lot in the passing game. He had 107 yards receiving. I know you have some thoughts on the fourth down usage by Dan Campbell here.
Yeah, I mean, and he's going to be he wants to be a very aggressive coach. But to me, and it's the whole analytics things, Geoff, and you know me, but analytics became a movement about 10, 15 years ago, whatever it is. But it just swept the NFL and owners and the media and everybody really outside coaches and scouts were just pressing, you have to go by the analytics book. You have to use analytics. Possession wins games. Touchdowns win games. That's all true. But experience also comes into play for a head coach. I mean, how much money are we paying head coaches and guys who are experienced? And I don't think Andy Reid's a guy who goes by the analytics book, right? He knows how he evaluates how the game is going. To me, there were 2 games yesterday. The one last night, we're talking about the Lions and the Eagles. The Lions defense was playing lights out. Why do you go for it 5 times on fourth down? What's wrong with taking 3 points once in a while? And the Washington Miami game was even worse. I mean, here it is, two teams that were struggling. One's got a backup quarterback in Marcus Mariota. The other really had a hard time under pressure seeing things. Both offenses were struggling scoring. You're late in the game. You have 4th and 1. And you go for it. If you kick the field goal, the game does not go into overtime and you win the game. And it's just, Geoff, it's not, you have to judge how the game is going. But I really believe that head coaches if they come in and they don't go for it and they lose the game, the first thing they're asked is, hey, why didn't we follow analytics? Well, and the answer that, hey, my experience told me that we should kick the field goal, that's not a good answer to a lot of media and owners or whoever is questioning. So I just think it's a movement that's swept in. Listen, there's a spot for it. I mean, it's not, there's right place, right time. You can use the information, but you have to use your experience in your brain as far as how the game is going and when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. I think Dan Campbell gets caught up. As much as analytics, he gets caught up in that aggressive mindset. He's going to bite off their kneecaps. He's going to go for it. But sometimes when your defense is playing well, just take the 3 points.
Dan Campbell does at least build his game plans around going for it, which I do appreciate. Right, it's their ethos of their team, Marty. So they treat third down a certain way, knowing they might go for it on fourth down. I think it does lead to some aggressive plays on third down, which do prove to be winning plays for them. But to your point, sometimes the 3 points is fine. And I would talk about this. We mentioned this before, Marty. There's just a quality to getting 3 points that makes everyone happy. And as you're an offense, you're grinding out to get 3 points. Like, you got something on the board, might not be 7, but you feel good about getting points. And there's a little quality to the confidence that brings. The Dolphins game, Marty. I think both teams, they were both trying to lose equally. They were doing their best. They said they're both trying their best to lose. 4th and 1 at the 1 yard line. There's 144. So not even 144. They run the football, does Miami. They then burn a timeout. Washington had no timeouts. They burn a timeout under 2 minutes. So now, instead of this play being run at 1:30, 1:25, it's run at 1:44. And they go for it on 4th and 1, game tied at 13. They get stuffed. And then eventually Washington misses a long field goal that would have won them the game. And Miami wins in overtime off an interception, and a couple plays later, kick a game-winning field goal. For the life of me, I know they ran the ball well at various points in this game, Marty, but their offensive line's not built to get 1 yard. I was stunned. Mike McDaniel tried to get 1 yard, instead of kicking a field goal that would have put ahead by 3, and then forced Mariota, a backup quarterback, to go 30 yards, get in field goal range with no timeouts. I was stunned, dude. It's absolutely stunned.
Well, first, Geoff, more offensive lines are like Miami's. We don't run power running games. So when you're going 4th and 1, a lot of offensive lines aren't able to just get that yard. But I think yesterday was an example of 2 losing teams, right? And we always talk about the winning teams are confident that they're going to win. They're doing the things they have to do to win. The teams with losing records are trying not to lose the game. And I think this was a perfect example yesterday of 2 teams that were trying not to lose the game. You say, well, they were aggressive. They were going for 4th and 1. Yeah, but that's not the smart thing to do. Kick the field goal, get up by 3. Oh, what happens if the other team goes down and scores a touchdown? Have confidence in your defense that you're going to stop them and win the game. This has become such an offensive-minded game, which is great for the league, and fans want to see points. But we forget sometimes that the other side's got a defense too. And I just think that yesterday, those 2 offenses were struggling so badly that I would have wanted to take the 3 points and get the lead.
I agree. In moments, it's time to do that. If you like what you're hearing here in the GM Shuffle, there's even more at VSiN Pro. Betting splits, power ratings, and sharp analysis, all for $9.99 your first month. Go to vsin.com/subscribe and check out all the subscription options. Marty, we talked about the Rams and Seahawks heading into this weekend, and what did I say? I think a direct quote was, "I don't trust the Seahawks because Sam Darnold could turn into a pumpkin at any moment." And I believe I was mostly correct in the pumpkining of Sam Darnold this weekend. 4 interceptions. One of them was not his fault. And he did make some throws, but man, when you lose 4 possessions, Marty, on the road, you're not going to win many games. And somehow the Rams didn't cover. I don't know how. They won only by 2. The Seattle's defense played really well. What do you make of, look, we know the Rams are good. We've talked about them a lot. I'm more interested, Marty, in your thoughts on what Seattle did or did not do this. I think Seattle had more to prove than the Rams did.
The Rams are a very good team, and on defense, they're so fast. They have so much speed, Geoff. I mean, they're an extremely good defense. Sam Darnold didn't play his best game. I'm not ready to say, okay, that's why, he bounced around. I think he tried to force some balls in. I think he was trying too hard pretty much and maybe going outside of the scheme a little bit. But I think that if you're Seattle, the bright spot is we didn't play our best game at all. We turned the ball over 4 times, and we were kicking a 61-yard field goal at the end of the game to try to win it. We only lost by 2 points. So as poorly as they played, they hung in that game with their defense. And And I just think that this is a very good team, well-coached team, close-knit team. And I'm not gonna push them aside right now, but the Rams are extremely good.
The idea that a 61-yard field goal was something that we actually thought might happen, I think, too, the odds in that moment favored Seattle to make that kick and win that game. They were the favorite before the field goal kick. Blows my mind because that wasn't the case 5 years ago. That is the case now. We'll continue talking about some NFC teams. Also, a lot of backup quarterbacks yesterday. Where do those teams stand? We'll do that next. James Show, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle. We got a lot of games to get through from this past weekend. Geoff Schwartz alongside Marty Hurney here. We will preview Monday Night Football here in a few minutes and give you our best bet for next week. Don't tail mine. I can't win a bet to save a life, but you're welcome to hear my analysis about it. The Panthers, Marty, win 30-27 in Atlanta in overtime. Bryce Young, 31 of 45 for 448 and 3 touchdowns. They couldn't run the ball at all, only 7 yards rushing for the game between Dowdle, Hubbard, and ETN got 1 carry, and Bryce Young had 1 carry on 4th down, a pretty poorly designed play in my mind. The rollout to the short side of the field, Marty, just there's limited options. There's not a lot of room to operate when you flood 3 guys in that area and they have the quarterback boot to that side. The defense just has to be so far sucked in for that to work. Nonetheless, Marty, the Panthers right now, half a game out of first place in the NFC South. They keep winning, man. It might not be pretty, it might be ugly, but they keep getting the job done.
I've been skeptical, as you know, all year, but that was a very impressive game. The way they came back in Atlanta, and believe me, I know it is really tough to win a division game in Atlanta, at least from my experience. And Bryce Young just played extremely well, probably the best game of his career, I would think, because you're right, Geoff, he didn't have the running game like he's had in the last few wins. He didn't have Rico Dowdle going off. He did this by himself, and he even got dinged. He's playing through an ankle injury. But this guy, I'm so happy for him because I always thought he could be a really good quarterback, a franchise quarterback in this league because of his vision. And you talk about those rollouts to the short side, but man, Geoff, he has the ability to spot guys, on the other side of the field, in midfield. He's got great vision. He can see. He's got great feel for who's open, and he just played a heck of a game yesterday. That's a huge win for them. And I think Tampa Bay is still a better team right now, further along in their development. But that Canales has done an incredible job. And what's it tell you, Geoff? You look at Bryce Young, everything they paid to get up there, number one, everybody was ready to run out of town, and you get the right offensive-minded coach with him. And if we look at all the good young quarterbacks, they all have good young offensive-minded coaches with them. Maybe not so young sometimes, but they have good coaches, and that is so critical to a young quarterback. And, they kind of took him and then decided to build around him going on. He's finally showing that he deserved to be picked number 1 overall, and I'm so happy for this young man. He played extremely well yesterday. Career game.
Couple of Falcons notes on injuries. Michael Penix, bone bruise, might be out for a while. Bone bruises have no timeline, Marty. As you know, they just get better or they don't. Those are really tough injuries to have. He could wake up Saturday morning and feel great, and then wake up Sunday morning and feel like crap and they can't play. I mean, that's just what a bone bruise is. Drake London with a PCL injury. Those are typical timeline for knees, a couple weeks, depending on severity of that one. So that's something to note here. Cousins probably a little bit, you get a little more chance to play here. Also worth noting that the Falcons traded their first round pick for James Pierce. And that first round pick right now would be the 8th pick in the draft. And that goes to the Los Angeles Rams, who have the 8th pick in the draft as of right now. We talked about it when we were on the podcast at the time. I thought that was a terrible trade. And the Rams, who might be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, will have the 8th pick in the draft right now, which is insane.
It is insane. But let me ask you this. In my mind, I think the Falcons might be the biggest underachievers in the league. And again, I'm really excited about the young players that they have on their team, the way they've drafted. And, we got to see about Michael Penix. I'm not sure. I think he will be a middle-of-the-road quarterback at worst, a win-with guy. I'm not sure he'll be a win-because-of guy. But I just think they have so much talent, Geoff, and I have expected to see them get on a run, and they just don't look in sync. They don't do the things offensively that, be John Robinson, feed them the ball more, and you have weapons. Kyle Pitts has got to start catching the ball. They took him, I think, 8th overall, and he just drops too many passes. But they have a lot of young talent on this team. I just thought they'd be playing better at this point.
Yeah, the Commanders come to mind as a team that is much worse than I thought. But again, they've had injuries, so hard to really look at them and see in the same light. You mentioned Tampa Bay with the Panthers in that division, and Buffalo beat Tampa Bay 44-32. Tampa Bay did the formula I thought. They rushed for 1 billion yards. Sean Tucker had 106. White had 51. Mayfield added 39. Tucker added a touchdown as well. And they did the things I thought they had to do to win. And then here comes Josh Allen to save the day with 6 touchdowns, Marty, yesterday. 317 passing, 3 touchdowns, and also 3 rushing touchdowns, including, I think, a couple tush pushes, and then a keeper that he ran in for a score. He also had an incredibly, 18 Josh Allen throw for an interception early in the game. I don't know if you went back to his YOLO days. It was a wild interception. But 44 points, Marty, this feels like the way Buffalo has to win every game right now. And it feels like that's a very difficult way to finish out a season, having to score this many points because your defense is not good right now.
Well, I think, and it's not just this year. I mean, I think really in the last couple of years, they have had issues stopping the run. But again, Geoff, when you get into the playoffs, it's about the quarterbacks and it's about scoring points. I think one of the quiet moves that is really going to help Buffalo moving forward is the addition of Gabe Davis. You saw him yesterday. They got him before the season. He was with Buffalo for 4 years and then went to Jacksonville. Came back beginning of the season. He was hurt. He and Josh Allen have a chemistry. I mean, Josh Allen rolled out once. Gabe Davis ran an over route. He knows how to find the holes. When Josh Allen starts scrambling and the play breaks down, Gabe Davis knows where to go to get open and have Josh Allen get him the ball. And I think that's really going to help their passing game moving forward. He gave them a spark yesterday, and I think that is the most important thing, is to make Josh Allen comfortable with the weapons and who he's got. Dalton Kincaid was out because of injury, but he's got James Cook now. If Gabe Davis can keep doing some of the things on second, third down like he did yesterday, and listen, I think that was the only time in history of the NFL quarterbacks rushed for 3 touchdowns and thrown for 3. And that's what they need. They need Josh Allen to take over like he hasn't been playing that way really for the last month and a half. If he starts taking off, they're going to be a difficult team to beat.
Any fixes for the defense, Marty? Is it just sort of you hope it just gets better?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fixes are schematically right now. I mean, you are who you are right now, Geoff. There's no going out and getting help really on the street. But when you consistently have had difficulty stopping the run, I think you really have to look at what you're doing and load up. And on some teams they're playing, you just got to take away the run and get into a pass duel with them. That's kind of what you want. But you're hoping that you're taking the lead and you're throwing them into passing situations and you're ahead so they can't run the ball. That's the first way to take care of it. Second way is I really think they have to do a deep dive schematically and see if there's things they can do to improve it.
One trend, unfortunately, Marty, that we saw yesterday was backup quarterback continuing to get a lot of run here with Mariota having to play for Daniels, Davis Mills playing yesterday, Mason Rudolph coming in for Aaron Rodgers, who I believe hurt his left wrist. We'll get more information throughout the week. Shedeur Sanders came in for Dylan Gabriel, who was terrible and stinky, and Michael Penix got hurt. Jameis Winston played yesterday. Malik Willis came in for Jordan Love. The Packers. I want to start with the Packers quickly, Marty.
Yes.
Good win for them. Good gritty win. Giants came out, scored early. Packers came back. Matt LaFleur having a package of plays ready for Malik Willis is really smart. And he comes in to have sort of that option college-esque offense in for him, a run game, I should say. And they must practice it because the team was ready to go. They put it in. They probably spend, 10 minutes on a Friday, just kind of, maybe probably Wednesday, going over some base run plays for Malik Willis in practice. It pays off. Giants are not ready for it. Then Jordan Love comes back in. I just want to praise Matt LaFleur for having those plays up, Marty, because you hope to never use them, right? You hope Willis doesn't come in the game. He did, and they were very ready to go.
Changed the whole momentum of the game, Geoff. I mean, the Packers offense was struggling and had been struggling, right? And I'm saying, okay, we got the right side. I, like you, I took the Giants in the 7 points, and they were having problems moving the ball. Malik Willis comes in, completes 2 passes, big run. They score the touchdown. And then it just seemed like it gave the entire team momentum. And it's a game of confidence and momentum. And I think it really jump-started them. I thought that was a critical part of that game when Malik Willis came in and did what he did to put the Packers ahead. It just kind of, they were in that same kind of offensive funk that they had been the last couple of weeks, and then he comes in, and the whole character and personality of their offense changed.
There is something to the sort of running the football physically for multiple plays in a row that fires the whole team up. This is why I talk about the need to run the football. It's not just because I'm an offensive lineman and I just think we should do it all the time. It does a lot of things for your team. The physicality up front translates to the whole team. If you're being physical in the offensive line, the defensive line also wants to match that energy, right? It gives your defense a little bit of a rest if you run the football a little bit, right? It allows a play action pass. The body blow thing, which I know that some people don't subscribe to. Every player does. You pound it, you hit someone. Those take a toll, right? And there's all these things that run plays can set up formationally, other things later in games. So there is a lot in my mind that's still valuable in the run game. And the best teams in the NFL run the football really well. It's kind of come back now, Marty, to that being a part of offense in the National Football League. And to me, it's very valuable. So I was watching the game, same where you. Malik Willis comes in, provides them a spark, and then the Packers offense, with Jordan Love, by the way, was much better moving forward. We'll talk some Monday Night Football, talk best bets. We'll do that next on GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome back to the GM Shuffle. We'll get to our best bets in just a second here. Cleaning up the Ravens and Browns game. The Ravens, woof, Marty. I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing this season from them. I get it that Lamar was out for a little bit of time. He's back now. They're better health-wise, but every week I watch them play and I think there's just more. There's got to be more, Marty. I don't buy this team at all. They might win the division because Pittsburgh losing Rodgers and they're just not as good as Baltimore, but they have too many of these games, Marty. Too many games where you're like, oof, that just is not what it should look like if you're Baltimore.
No, there's been something awful in them since the beginning. Now they're getting better, and they could win this division because, especially if Aaron Rodgers is hurt, but that division is up for grabs between the Ravens and the Steelers. And listen, anytime they play the Browns, it's always a dogfight. I mean, that division game is always extremely tough, but they just don't seem to be in sync totally to me, Geoff. They've gotten better each week, but, you're playing a team like Cleveland. They have no quarterback. I mean, they got Myles Garrett, who was amazing again yesterday. I can watch the Cleveland Browns just to watch him, but they bring in, Dylan Gabriel can't do it. Shedeur Sanders came in. I felt bad for Gabriel because the Cleveland fans are booing every time he threw an incomplete pass because they want to see Shedeur Sanders, and he came in and obviously didn't do anything. I need to see more of the Ravens, but I'm not on the bandwagon like a lot of people are. Now, they can keep getting better and if they can get some more guys back. But I just think that they're in a pretty easy division, might get in the playoffs. Just don't know whether they are in sync enough and are the team we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year to go far in the playoffs.
So Shedeur Sanders did get to play, Marty, and you'd be shocked to find out the discourse about this is just the most backwards, ridiculous, off-putting, embarrassing discussion of all time. Look, it's unfair to judge him in the couple of plays, Marty. Of course, like he's coming in as a backup at the end of a game against a good defense, and he's not going to play well. And so to think he was and to think that was going to be the case is foolish if you did. And shame on you if you're judging him after, half a quarter, whatever it was, one quarter. But the other side is just as shameful, man. This idea that, he's being screwed by the Browns. So what's come out now is that he didn't get any reps with the ones in practice. Well, yeah, of course he didn't. He's the backup quarterback. The way practice works, there's 5 periods essentially where you have team reps, and the quarterback's going to get 95 of those reps. That's like 30 reps, Marty, in a Wednesday practice, 30 reps. And maybe you add on 7-on-7 on a Thursday practice. And it's 35 reps. That's it. It's not like we're 150 reps in a game and in a practice. So the one quarterback gets all of those reps. And then maybe they give 2 to the backup at one point. But with a younger quarterback in Dylan Gabriel who needs every practice rep, they're not giving Sanders any of those reps. He's the backup quarterback. And up until a couple weeks ago, he was the third string quarterback. I came in a game, my first game ever was 2009. We were in New England. It was raining. It was like sleeting. It was gross. It was like week, 14, Marty, in 2009. Otah got hurt. I came in for 3 plays, and then I played, the rest of the season the following week. Do you think I had any reps with the ones? No. Why would I? I wasn't starting. Why would I take reps with the ones? The ones need to take reps with the ones. And maybe I filled in for Otah in practice once. I don't think I did, but certainly possible that it happened. I think Jeremy Bridges actually was filling in for him when he went out and Jeremy was hurt at that point in the season. But the fact is, that's a normal thing. The backup doesn't get reps in practice. And we're making it like this huge referendum on how the Browns screwed Shedeur Sanders. They didn't do anything different than anyone else did. This is the sport, man. Right. This is what it is. You don't get reps in practice with the ones if you're not on the one team.
Well, you do get reps. You get mental reps, right? You stand back there and you get mental reps every rep in practice.
And you do take scout reps. Like you do practice.
And you take scout. But if you're paying attention when the starter's in there, you're getting mental reps. The other thing, and I'm just assuming this, but I would think it's a pretty good assumption. That's why Kevin Stefanski didn't want to trade Joe Flacco, because he doesn't need reps during practice. He's a veteran. Yeah. He doesn't need to take all those reps to come in as a backup in a game. So I think that it's a bad situation, but it's what happens when you don't have a true starting quarterback. You're scrambling. You're looking for some kind of sign to come in and solve your problems. It doesn't happen that way. So I agree with you. I mean, I thought that they had no choice but to bring Sanders in. They weren't doing anything, but it really, he didn't have much of a chance. And I just think that the way the Browns offense works right now, I don't think either one of their quarterbacks are good enough to be a legitimate win-with starter.
They have this season with 5 quarterbacks on the roster. None of them are good. Quickly, a little injury news before we get to Monday Night Football. Lane Johnson suffered a Liz Frank sprain in his foot. Injury could sideline him 4 to 6 weeks. I would take the over on that with an older offensive lineman. If it needs surgery, that's obvious. I mean, it feels like they're trying to put off surgery, right? Best they can, have him back for the postseason. That's bad. Lane, Hall of Famer, like wish him the best, but I would imagine that puts him out for the rest of the season. Let's get to Monday Night Football, Marty. It is the Raiders. It is the Cowboys. This is Cowboys here by 3.5 here. This game is in Vegas. Total 50.5. The Raiders with Bowers are better offensively, but not great. They put up 29 against Jacksonville, only 7 last week against Denver. Their offensive line is not good. JPJ is hurt, I believe. I don't know, man. JPJ is on the reserve. I want to make sure about that. So they're down another offensive lineman, but it's the Cowboys defense, man. I don't trust their defense. I think I just look for points in this game. I think you give the ball to Genty, give the ball to Bowers, you lean on some of those guys, and you hope that you can score enough to keep up with the Cowboys who are going to score.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch this game, but I certainly wouldn't take the Raiders in this game. But I think the Cowboys defense is going to start getting better. I think DeMario Overshown is expected to come back.
I believe so, yeah.
Tonight, and he is a big, rangy, athletic. He will really help them. So they made additions to their defense. I expect the Cowboys to play better and really win this game tonight. If they don't beat the Raiders, then they've got a lot of issues. But I think they come out and win this game. 3.5 doesn't really excite me. I'm just going to watch. But both these teams are, again, these are two teams that are going in trying not to lose instead of trying to win the game because they do not have the confidence and momentum that it takes to really go into a game with that attitude.
Dallas is 3-5-1. A win would move them up into 10th in the NFC. Probably unlikely to get in the postseason, but the Lions are 6-4. The Lions right now actually out of the postseason. Carolina is sort of right there. Minnesota with McCarthy. I gotta say, man, I know he hasn't played a ton of football yet, but the McCarthy experience has not been pretty, buddy. It's hard because they're expecting him to win. Like they need to win now. It's what their roster is built for, and they can't do it. The Bears, by the way, have won 5 games this season when they've been trailing with under 2 minutes left, which is just insane number. Quickly, before we get to our best bets here, what do you make of the McCarthy experience on Sunday?
See, I like JJ McCarthy. I think he's a smart, heady player who needs games, who needs reps, and he's been hurt. He hasn't played a lot. I still think he's got a chance to be their quarterback moving forward. I like his headiness. I like the way he plays the game. And he's going to take some lumps. I mean, he hasn't played a lot, but I do like him. And again, coupled with Kevin O'Connell, I think he's just going to continue to improve.
Let's get to our best bet presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. What do you got, Marty, for this week?
I love the Chiefs giving 3 to the Colts. I just Kansas City, and I know you're shaking your head at me, but listen, this team is got their backs against the wall. Again, I think it's an organization that is very honest with itself. They're gonna go in and do the best job they can at fixing some of their problems each and every week. I just think that there's going to be points, but I think Steve Spagnuolo comes in and tries to take Jonathan Taylor out of the game and makes Daniel Jones beat him. I really like the Chiefs here giving 3. It went down to 3 this morning, and I like him giving 3.
All right. I don't know about that, Marty. We'll see. We'll see.
You
what
hope I'm
right this weekend. I hope you're right, but I don't have much faith in it. My best bet, Arizona. Plus 2.5 at home against Jacksonville. Arizona, a game where against the 49ers, Jacoby Brissett was 47 of 57 for 552, and they only scored 22 points, which is because they turned the ball over 3 times. Jacksonville off a big win against the Chargers. It's more of a fate of Jacksonville off a big win, and I think Arizona just isn't going to turn the ball over. Jacoby Brissett, man, they've played well on offense, Marty, with him in there. I think this is a game where Jacksonville is on the road, and I get 2.5 here. with Arizona. I'll probably take Arizona here. Any last words about Week 11, Marty?
Well, my only thing there is, Geoff, can Arizona protect them? And listen, we know the Chargers are a match unit, but Jacksonville really got after Justin Herbert yesterday. And if they can do the same thing to Jacoby Brissett, then Arizona's going to have a tough time offensively.
I'm with you there. I don't think we'll have a tough time for Monday Night Football with a lot of points tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed that as usual. Reminder, please subscribe if you're listening to the show. If you're this late in the show, you like us, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That really helps us out. It's free. Leave us a review as well. Share it with your friends and family. We're back on Thursday for our preview of Thursday Night Football and then the week ahead. We love talking ball with everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back on Thursday, guys. Take care.